Hurry, welcome back to start a brand new Let's Play. This is Monsters of Little Haven, a game developed by Nikita Calf Productions, published by the same name. The main focus in Monsters of Little Haven interactive novel is the story of Little Haven Village. At the heart of the action are a 12-year-old Kenneth and his younger sister Esme, children of the Murphy family, who hit the trail of a mysterious monster following a series of untangled events. So yes, an interactive novel, which is not usually something I usually play, but I've had some good time with interactive novels. One of the biggest one coming to mind being, well, I suppose, Telltale's The Walking Dead, who, if I'm not mistaken, Telltale is no longer in business. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the unfortunate demise of a promising game development studio. We're talking about Monsters of Little Haven. So, let's get started, I guess.
Chapter Escape.
Voice work. Nice.
When Kenneth left the house to find his sister, the sun was still just breaking through the thick clouds. Having circled the village of Little Haven, Kenneth's voice was beginning to give out. Esme! Esme! She wasn't even in their place under the big oak that stands in the middle of the wheat field near the house. Desperate, he sat under the oak tree for several hours until it began to drizzle. He turned around to the sound of wet footsteps behind him and saw Esme. Kenneth was angry, but his sister's shabby appearance immediately softened his tone. "Where have you been? I was looking all over for you." "Sorry, I didn't mean to." "Come on, the hurricane's coming." Kenneth took his sister's hand and led her toward the house. "Well, you're all wet. What happened?" "Oh, I was attacked by a monster." "A monster?" "I ran away from it and got lost." "Well, now Mom and Dad will think that we ran away." "I'm sorry."
Oh, this is where I make a choice. Not gonna lie, the voice work, it doesn't seem too fitting. Like, the narrator is good for narration, but you probably could have gone with somebody else for the actual characters. Alright, so who's the... Okay, so the sister is the youngest one. The brother will be protective, right? So...
"No need to apologize. Just don't do it again." "But You're too old for these fairy tales." "You're the one in denial." Esme was soaking wet, and her small steps were accompanied by squelching sounds. Kenneth stopped and helped Esme pour the water out of her boots. "How did you get so much water in there?" "I don't know." After wrapping her in his jacket, Kenneth rushed down the washed-away trail to the house. "Thanks." The way home was riddled with fear of the impending punishment, along with squelching boot noises. "Well, it's a good thing that Grandma doesn't know, or who knows what she might think up." "I agree. Grandma always has some story in her head." 5 minutes late, and she already imagines a pack of angry dogs or bandits attacking you. Or that you tripped over a rock in the woods and fell unconscious, face first, into an anthill. This conversation lifted their spirits. When is Grandma coming? Oh, I don't know. Probably whenever she and Dad make up. Oh, I miss Grandma. A heavy silence fell, but it didn't last long. Do you remember Baloo? With those words, it was as if she had stabbed Kenneth between the ribs. He remembered.
It's not a bear, is it?
That was the name of the dog the Murphy family had buried a couple of years ago. Kenneth was very fond of Baloo, and his death really hit him hard. And then, for a few months, he slept, hugging his old collar. At first, Kenneth could burst into tears at any time, so that even the other side of the pillow wasn't always dry.
Probably best not to be remembered about that, huh?
Probably on Christmas. What? Grandma's probably coming for Christmas. She always comes. Is that soon? Well, after the snow falls and a bit of a waiting, when the decorating is finished. At that moment, they had almost reached the plot, surrounded by a fence looking fairly battered after all the years. As soon as they crossed it, something frightened Esme. She froze, pointing her finger toward the shed at the pier. Oh, hear that? What? There's a monster! Let's go home, or we'll get in trouble. As if she had heard something, Esme began to make a whining sound. Oh, it's going to be okay. Come on. But he will come at night.
Yeah, I mean, the narrator is doing a good job, but they really should have used different people for the actual characters. Anyway, let's check this shit, right? If it's to give her a peace of mind, because apparently our little Kenneth still doesn't think anything's going on, so, you know.
We'll make sure there aren't any monsters and go home, okay? Okay. Kenneth took her hand and they went to the pier. Esme clutched Kenneth's hand, squeezing his palm. Even on the way to the shed, Esme was trying to look behind the half-open doors, which were moaning on the rusted hinges. In the half-light, it made tense even Kenneth. After approaching the shed, Kenneth opened the door in one motion, propped it with a stone, and then, with a bold gesture, invited Esme to come in. Oh, I'm scared. Thunder rumbled. Oh, did you see that? Someone was there. Nobody's here. Come on. Why do you say that when you saw him yourself? You were looking right at him. Well, I saw, like, it must have been some kind of a shadow, like yours. Kenneth took control of the situation. He was fooling around. He went inside with swagger, demonstrating the absence of monster, although he doubted it himself. Not a soul. But the door was open. Oh, it's always open. Dad must have been in here recently. We'll close the door. Before Esme could answer, Kenneth took her in his arm and carried her out of the shed, knocking out the stone that held the door on the way. And then, for Esme's peace of mind, he slid back the loosened latch. Esme pressed herself against Kenneth's shoulder and whispered in his ear, "Are you sure he won't come out?" Kenneth played along. "Of course. Have you seen how big the lock is?" Esme had calmed down, but later added very quietly under her breath, "I hope it's not too cold in there for him." On the doorstep, Kenneth met Mom and Dad. They were solemnly showing out a stranger in a formal outfit. As soon as he approached, the adults' conversation stopped. "Go up to your room, honey. I'll be right there." Satisfied that they had escaped punishment, Kenneth and Esme hurried up the stairs to their room. In the room, there was a glass of milk and a plate of pancakes on the table waiting for them. Kenneth took the wet jacket off Esme, rubbed her hair with a thin blanket, and sat her down at the table. "Here, you should eat." "Oh, thank you." "They're quite cold, though." "Do you want me to go downstairs and warm them up?" "Oh, no, they're delicious. Thanks." "Don't go down there. Sit with me." Kenneth was afraid of his parents' reaction to their escape. But everything was still quiet.
That's bad news.
"Well, let's hang the wet dress up to dry." "Oh, thanks." "Now go to bed." Kenneth covered his sister with a blanket and lay down on his bed. They were both staring blankly at the ceiling until Esme said, "Oh, I wish the monster was gone." "Oh, it's going to be okay. You need to sleep." "All right." Esme curled up into a ball and turned to the wall. There was an awkward knock at the door, followed by the equally awkward mother's tone. "Are you okay?" Kenneth looked at Esme. She was almost sleeping. "Yep." Behind his mother, he heard Father's quiet voice from downstairs. "Oh, don't wake him up." "Good night." The door closed. Esme rustled in bed and turned to Kenneth. "Why didn't they scold us?" I don't know."
Bigger trouble.
It seemed that Esme had fallen asleep. He heard his parents talking softly downstairs. Then he heard cabinet doors opening and a kind of softly tinkling. It became more quiet. Kenneth was sleepy. He overheard the room door creaking. Kenneth pretended to be asleep. A beam of light spilled onto his bed from the half-open door. A moment later, the door closed gently. Kenneth fell asleep. Thunder rumbled.
Don't.
As Kenneth opened his eyes a little, he flinched to the wall out of fright as he saw Esme's shadow in front of him in the light of the lightning flash. She was sitting on the bed, terrified, with her knees pressed to her chest. The door to the room was open. Kenneth ran to her and knelt beside her. "What's the matter? Are you afraid of the thunder?" "Oh, there was a monster looking for something." Kenneth was confused, feeling helpless because of his sister's behavior. Usually, stories about the monster didn't go this far. "Well, what was the monster looking for?" "Oh, for me, of course. But I hid like this." She demonstrated, covering her eyes with her palms. "Even being this close, he didn't see me. What a stupid fool. Searched through the nightstands, the closet, under the bed, as if I could fit in there." "You want me to call Mom and Dad?" "Oh, no, don't." Kenneth noticed a puddle on the sheet under Esme and read shame in her eyes. Pretending there was nothing there, he moved her to his bed. "Why didn't you call the parents?" "Oh, I was scared. You and I are already in trouble." "And what happened next?" "Oh, at some point, he leaned over you as if he wanted to bite off half of your face with his big, toothy jaws. Or to kiss you, ha ha." "Yes?" "Well, I didn't see. He attacked me differently." So your monster wants to give me a kiss, but attacks you?" "I wonder what new notes are you going to add to your diary about the monster?" Esme became upset. Kenneth gave up. He just sat there for a while, waiting for what came next. Esme ran to her bed, lifted the corner of the mattress briskly, took out her diary, and put it in Kenneth's hands, as if trying to convince him of something. Kenneth knew about the diary, but Esme always kept it to herself. The book looked worn out, and at the same time, girly neat. Kenneth carefully held the diary in his hands, appreciating Esme's trust. "A bow knot. Well done," Kenneth thought, keeping all jokes to himself for the time being. "Oh, read." "Maybe later?" He put the diary on his nightstand. "Oh, you won't laugh, will you?" Esme asked, as if she regretted giving away her personal diary. "Oh, of course not." "And don't tell anyone." Esme sat in front of Kenneth with glowing eyes and seemed not to even think about going to sleep. While Kenneth was wondering how to calm Esme down, she continued the conversation first. "Well, have you ever seen it?" "Oh, the monster?" "Yep."
Let's keep it up, right? The fact that he's all stoic, I guess.
"Well, I haven't seen it." "And if you had, would you tell anyone?" I don't know." "Why?" "Well, probably because no one would believe me." "Oh, that's stupid. How come?" "Why doesn't anyone believe me? I really did see it." "Well, they don't believe you because they haven't seen it." Chapter Murphy's. Kenneth fell asleep from exhaustion while sitting on the floor, but a few minutes later was awoken by Esme. "Oh, it's not true." Kenneth was tired of Esme's antics and was getting angry with her. "Oh, what's not true?" "Well, it's not true that no one saw him. I saw drawings of him in the attic." "What drawings?" "Well, the same as in my diary." "Well, what could that mean?" Esme defiantly folded her arms and frowned. "And now wait, how did you get into the attic? It's never been opened." "Well, I was careful." "Where did you get the key?" Esme handed him Dad's set of keys. "What have you done? Where'd you get them? Dad will be furious." "Well, I got them from his closet while you were sleeping." They heard a noise coming from the shed at the pier. Esme didn't waste time and expressed the most expected thing. "Oh, it's a monster!" "We were there and found nobody." "Oh, I saw it out the window. It's there again." Behind the door, they heard their father's rapid footsteps. He ran into the parents' bedroom, which was right next to their room. Kenneth was peeping through the half-open door. Dad took out a hunting rifle and ran down the stairs, slamming the front door behind him. It seemed he was drunk. Kenneth slipped out to the door of the attic and began picking out the right key.
Oh, we have to. Okay.
Thunder rumbled. Kenneth unlocked the door to the attic. Well, where were the keys? Oh, in the box. Well, where exactly? Oh, please, hurry. Dad's coming. Without waiting for an answer, Kenneth ran into the parents' bedroom, put the keys under one of the tables, and ran back to his room. Mother's voice came from downstairs. Son, come down, please. Kenneth went downstairs. Mom was sitting in a chair near the TV, broadcasting generic white noise. Judging by the bags under her eyes, he hadn't slept in a while. Mom, is everything okay? Mom looked devastated. She could hardly smile. I wanted to ask you the same thing. You're such a good boy. Kenneth was embarrassed. Come to me. It seemed Mother wanted to say something but couldn't get the words out, so she hugged Kenneth tightly instead, like a rag doll. The front door swung open. Kenneth took a few steps back. Father came in the living room with the rifle over his shoulder, holding a blood-stained carcass of a fox by the tail. Well, I finally managed to catch this beast. It's been running from me for ages. Dad threw the carcass on the floor in front of Brenda and Kenneth. Kenneth noticed that the fox was still moving, but he didn't show it. Baloo used to hunt them down. Father went to the fridge, took out a beer bottle, and took a couple of sips. Oh, he was a great dog. He could cling to the throat and not let go till the end. Stop it. Right, Kenneth?
Mm-hmm. What do you mean you could have learned a lot from him? From the dog?
Well, you had a lot to learn from him. Now, don't get smart with me. Don't yell at him. In a moment of total insanity, the fox abruptly jumped up, made a circle around the first floor, then fled up the stairs, leaving behind little red marks. Father took the rifle and ran upstairs.
Brilliant.
Kenneth was alone with his mother. Well, Esme told me there was a monster in the shed. I almost believed her. We each have our own little monsters, and sometimes big ones. Oh, you too? Me too. Well, it's probably not a fox, or you'd be scared of it. Mother smiled. No, I'm not afraid of foxes. Why aren't you in bed yet? You've been on your feet since morning. Oh, I'm not tired. He heard Father's voice from the second floor. Damn beast! Seems it jumped out the window of the nursery. Father came down the stairs and left the house to search for the wounded fox. Kenneth went up the stairs and saw 4 eyes shining in the darkness of the nursery. He hurried into the room to Esme. She was sitting in the corner, holding the wounded fox. Kenneth closed the door tightly and turned on the nightlight. "What are you doing? It could bite you." Kenneth reached out to snatch the fox from Esme's hands, but she dodged away, clutching it to her. "She's hurt, and she hid in the corner under the bed. I got her out, and I'm making her better." "Well, how are you doing that?" "By whispering nice things to her to take the pain away." Kenneth turned his attention to the neck of the red monster. Baloo's collar was hanging on it. "What have you done?" "Well, I thought you'd like it." "Oh, give it back." Kenneth rushed to Esme, but the fox escaped her arms and ran down. Kenneth, in despair, called out to Father. "Dad, it's here! Catch it!" Kenneth ran up the stairs and saw that the fox had stopped right in front of his father at the entrance and was making a noise like a growl or a squeal. "It has Baloo's collar! Catch it!" His father grabbed the fox by the collar and took it off, then grabbed the fox by the scruff of the neck and threw it out, closing the door. "Well, I'm not even going to ask how the collar got on its damn neck." Father put the bloody collar in Kenneth's hand. He had a fox bite on his forearm. "You're bleeding. Let me treat it." Father left the rifle in the hallway and went to the sink. "Well, I won't die. Just need to wash it out."
You get some pretty nasty disease from that, though.
His mother went to Kenneth and whispered in his ear, asking him to go to his room. "You need sleep." Kenneth went to his room. After entering the room, Kenneth saw Esme sitting on the floor and staring aimlessly out the window. Can't sleep?" Kenneth sat down next to her. "Nope. Why aren't you sleeping?" "Yeah, I can't either." "I'm sorry about the collar. I didn't mean to make you angry." "No, never mind." Kenneth showed Esme the collar in his hand. "Oh, I feel sad." "For Baloo?" "For Baloo, too." "Who are you talking about?" "Poor Dad." "Why pity him?" "I don't know. He's always so grumpy and angry." Esme was about to cry. "I wouldn't want to be angry and sad. Poor Mom. And poor you. Poor everyone." Esme burst into tears. Kenneth rushed to hug her. "Oh, it's okay. Don't cry." Why is he so angry? How come? Oh, well, maybe something made him that way. Maybe. I want to sleep, but I can't. Stupid day. Well, let's play. I have a riddle for you. If you can't guess, you'll try to sleep again. Oh, sure. But if I guess, I'll ask you a riddle too. What if I don't guess? Esme's brow furrowed, showing a complex thinking process. Nothing. Oh, I don't know. Deal. Why do lions eat raw meat? Oh, it's easy. They have paws. They can't cook anything. Oh, you've heard this riddle before. Now it's your turn. Sad and beautiful, but not me. Oh, is that your riddle? Yes, it is. Answer me.
Coming right.
It's definitely you. Esme covered her face with her hands shyly. Not fair. What's the right answer? Oh, I forgot. Oh, I'm sleepy. Kenneth approached his bed and spread the blanket. Oh, go to bed. It's late. What about you? I'll guard the house for Monster. Kenneth waited for Esme to fall asleep and carefully left the room, closing the door behind him.